Hello, I'm Luis Padilla with Fresco Marketing, and today we are another day at the National Conference for the U.S. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and we're having conversations with some great leaders in the Latino community across the country. And today we have a special guest. We have Mercedes Enrique, President and CFO, of CMS Corporation. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Luis. Nice to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you. How was getting to Kansas City?
It was actually uneventful.
Yeah.
I was here yesterday afternoon, had a wonderful Latino Business Action Network reception, and followed by a dinner sponsored by Wells Fargo.
Oh, no,
It was a
yes.
lovely group.
Yes.
Yes.
I was actually there. So yeah,
Yes.
we didn't know each other yet, but I was there, and yes,
Yes.
we. Um, so is your first time in Kansas City?
No,
No.
I have one of my stepchildren lives in Kansas City,
Okay.
so we come here often
Yeah.
to include football games.
Yes. How was your favorite thing about Kansas City?
I live in St. Louis, Missouri.
Oh, okay.
I love the downtown. It's
Mhm.
clean, it's walkable, it's welcoming, it's unified. It's a beautiful, beautiful area. The farmers market is terrific.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, it's definitely growing. I
Yeah.
remember when I came 2008, just the Power and Light District was just being built, or it was just brand new.
Yes. Yeah.
So, and definitely now, 16 years later, it's
Yes.
definitely different.
Yeah,
So,
they have definitely achieved the mission,
Yes.
which was to really unite and bring the downtown a vibrant vibe.
yes,
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 yes.
and that's happening. Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
But so let's start. Like we were talking a little bit off record about yourself, where you're from. But if you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and where you grow up, where you're from.
Absolutely. So I was born in Venezuela to a Spanish father and a Venezuelan mother. At the age of 17, our father, actually to my older brothers first, said, "Your inheritance is your education. You can pick one of four countries." So we were given the U.S., Canada, Spain, and France.
Okay.
So, and go and make your life.
Okay.
So I actually was the ringleader. I convinced my middle brother. My older brother stayed for his undergraduate there, but my middle brother to come to the U.S. So I picked it.
You pick
Yes,
and,
yeah.
and you brought him with
My
you.
father picked the city, but I
Okay.
picked the country. Yes.
And you went straight to San Luis?
No,
No.
Toledo, Ohio.
Toledo, Ohio.
Yes. So my father is Spanish,
Yeah, yeah.
and Toledo University of Toledo has a link to Toledo, Spain.
Okay.
So, and they had an excellent English program. So that's where I came.
Okay.
And my middle
Yeah.
brother came a year before me.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. I was telling you before of record too that I came to study to the U.S. to Kansas City.
We have that in common.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
And so like let's talk about a little bit about your company
Yes.
and what you do. So if you want to tell us and explain your company and what's the industry that you're in.
Absolutely. So CMS Corporation was founded in 2004. So we are 20 years old this year.
Okay.
It's been a terrific milestone to celebrate.
Yes.
And we are a federal construction general contractor. So what that means is we manage the construction to the Department of Defense clients primarily. We also have other clients within the federal agencies, but 90% plus is with the Department of Defense. So that means the Army, the Air Force, and the Navy.
Okay.
And we go after these multi-year contracts. They're called IDIQs, indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity contracts. And they're multi-year contracts. And under those, they issue task orders. So that has been kind of our plan. And we've executed that plan ever since we started CMS and entered the federal space.
And
Yeah.
how do you got in this industry? Like what I guess what did you study?
Yeah. So I'm actually a computer engineer
Okay.
with an MBA in finance.
Okay.
So it was truly my business side. I spent 10 years in manufacturing, and actually a couple of my assignments were, I know that you were born in Mexico.
Yes.
A couple of my assignments, one was to restructure the equity investment that the company had in Mexico. That
Okay.
was when I was on the financial analyst side. And then later to actually move manufacturing from the US to Mexico.
Okay.
So when my second child was born and I wanted to be with that baby for at least the first year,
Yeah.
I changed careers and moved into construction. And it was my oldest brother who came and said, "We have this company. Are you interested in buying into the company?" And we actually bought the assets of the company. And there were two of us that left our jobs, started CMS, and then we had 5 financial investors. And one
Okay.
of them was my oldest brother.
Okay. Yeah. But so you started with your brother, so it's
So he was a small
a
investor,
small
but he
investor.
brought the opportunity. He said, "Are
Okay.
you ready to be an entrepreneur?"
Yes.
So our parents are both entrepreneurs. My
Okay.
mother's a pharmacist and had her own business all her life, and my father was a lawyer
Okay.
and actually not only taught philosophy and law, but also became an entrepreneur
Okay.
and bought and sold businesses. So we knew it was a matter of time.
Before you started
Yes,
your own business.
exactly.
Yes. Yes.
So I after 10 years in the industry and then a year off,
Yeah.
I was ready.
Ready for it.
Yes.
And how's the beginnings? Like starting a business, as we all know, like
Yes.
sometimes is not easy, and it's not easy to. So I guess sometimes I tell people it's easy to start. It's not easy to stay, right? Like to
Yes.
keep the business going.
Yes.
So
Yeah. Early on in my life, I learned that I'm quite resilient and that if I can imagine where I'm headed, I'm going to get there. And you fall many times, but you stand and you keep going. So nothing prevents me from continuing on because I can see that end of the road. And I think that's what entrepreneurship is. It's not being afraid to take the risk, to make the jump, but you must imagine where you're headed. And
right.
that's what keeps you going. In our case, we knew we had a market that we were pursuing. The federal government has an amazing program called the 8A program through the Small Business Administration, the SBA.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually joined that program and became a prime federal contractor at that point. And then soon learned that when you're 8A, you better start really pursuing small business set aside work, not just 8A set aside work. So we did that. We sought out a mentor under the SBA Mentor Protege and became a protege and started bidding small business set aside work. So
Okay.
we transitioned after 9 years from the 8A to small business, and now we transition from small to other than small.
To other small.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and what do you think is the in this journey of 20 years? What is the thing that you enjoy the most of having your own business?
So I have to say that I don't consider what I do work. I really sincerely enjoy what I do. So when I get up in the morning, I'm ready to go. There's the next challenge, the next opportunity, the next pursuit. There's never a dull moment, as you probably
Yes.
very well know.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think that's what I enjoy most is that it's something that motivates me, keeps me going. And now as we grow older and we grow in time, we give more back. That is, I'm also enjoying that. Is
Yes.
actually becoming more engaged at a board level or at a not-for-profit level or at society and organization like the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, the U.S. Hispanic Chamber, etc. It's becoming more involved in giving back.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I believe in the so in Fresco Marketing we like something that we believe strongly is giving back and be connected with the community. You know, like we
Yes.
have a program where through Wells Fargo we have a program where every year we give away $100,000 to small businesses to $10,000 grants.
Exactly.
And it's just I feel like having a business is more than just the next check, right? It's more about it's not just about the next contract or the next check or going bigger, but also being meaningful and
Yes.
have a purpose. And for us, I think giving back has always give us more. You know, like it comes back in a bigger ways.
That is precisely it. I'll give you one little story.
Yep.
So when we imagine how busy a newly formed company, what the time investment is, it's pretty intense.
Yeah.
And I remember going to the Society of American Military Engineers Small Business Conference. And that is the one society where our clients, so the Army, Air Force, Navy, and the constructors, people like us, and the engineers and the designers come together, and the ecosystem that surrounds it, right? So bonding companies, financial companies, lawyers, etc. But it really is that society. And I was approached and asked if I would lead the Small Business Council nationally for SME. And I looked at the director at that time and I thought, oh my gosh, do I have time? And then I thought, can you imagine if I give a little bit of my time? I ended up giving a lot of my time, but if I give some of my time, I'm going to also get to know at a deeper level the people. So always when you step up and say, I will volunteer, I will give back, I think I have enriched myself in our company even in greater ways.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, and you're right. And sometimes I feel like in our small business community and the Latino small business community, sometimes we forget that, right? Or we don't, or sometimes we don't know, right? Because we come from different backgrounds and another countries where is just the system is different, and the way the business are conducted is just different. And so here in the U.S., I feel like it's important to be involved in other boards, organizations, and committees, and get to know other people and networking. Right? I feel like that definitely makes a change in the trajectory
Yes.
of the businesses.
And nothing happens overnight. So
Right.
what I did 18 years ago and invested that time, it has developed relationships that are forever.
Right.
And with businesses, with other partners. Our protege is actually a Hispanic-owned, woman-owned small business,
Okay.
and her company is in New Mexico,
Okay.
and it was through SAME
Yeah.
in those relationships. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
and so how do you think? So how, thinking, and I like to ask this question, like, how do you think that you international background help you with your approach in business today, and like growing the business and making these relationships?
Yeah. That's a great question. So I think the fact that we grab our bags and move to another country, it's almost like there's a fearless factor to all migrants and hardworking, right? We are hardworking. We know that nothing is given to us for free, that we have to work for it, that it's in our hands to do. I think that passion and that style of living, not expecting to get things, but truly to work hard for them, always attracts other people that value that. Oh, when I worked at Dana, none of my bosses were Hispanic, but Dana had huge investments in Mexico, in Venezuela, in Brazil.
Okay.
And imagine my being Latin American was of tremendous help. So that really allowed me, and people noticed me, and I was happy to make a difference in
Right.
that way. So I think having an international background not only gives you the culture and the diversity that allows you to connect to many people, but it also makes you humble to remember that you have to work really hard because you're not home. Nothing's given to you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, I feel like I connect with that because when I came to the U.S. and study and then decided to pursue a career here and then open my own business, I just feel like since the beginning I was like, I'm gonna make it worth it because all my family is back in Mexico, and so I was like, if I'm gonna decide to stay here and do a career and grow a business, I was like, I'm gonna make sure that it's worth it, because otherwise I will go back and see my mom, right? Like stay with my mom or my family. But like,
Exactly.
so
And there's enough pride that you probably wouldn't do that.
right. But like
Yeah.
and talking to different business owners and Latino leaders, like I feel like we have that, driving that we want to push harder and make it worth it. So let's talk a little bit about the U.S. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce National Conference. We're here in Kansas City.
Yes.
And how do you think that the events like this help increase Latino representation and support the community in general?
Yes. This is so valuable. I cannot stress enough to other businesses, Hispanic-owned businesses, that we truly never do anything alone. So you know that we are in federal construction, and you would think, oh my gosh, $9 billion of, of services that are funded by the US government per year.
Wow.
You would think it's a huge amount of contractors. No, it is actually a small place. And the key is the network. There's nothing, there are pursuits that we have that without other partners we could not pursue because we alone may not have the qualifications to pursue that contract or to win that particular pursuit.
Right.
The places where you meet those businesses that you partner with are places like here, like the U.S. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, like whatever Chamber of Commerce where you live. I'm in St. Louis. If you're in Kansas City, belonging to them is where you will meet those businesses that will later become your partners. Sometimes they may be your competitors, but many of times they will be your joint venture partners or your teaming members, and without them, you cannot succeed.
Yes.
So I cannot stress enough that belonging and coming to conferences, this is a vibrant conference. It's full of incredible sessions. I am humbled by the speakers. I am so thankful that you asked me to do this. But I want to tell you there are so many more that you have picked. That you could
Yeah,
have picked.
I
Yes.
wish we have time to do everybody, and
Exactly.
yes, but thank you for being here again.
Yes.
And so yeah, I agree. I think, and once again, we say, like, I encourage, like other business owners that I know and I work with, of like, get involved, go out there. I know we all busy, right? Because most of the time the reason is like, oh, I'm busy, I have to do this and stuff, and I'm like, well, yeah, but like, we all busy. Like, if we don't leave the office, there's always something to do, right? Like, there's always work waiting for us. So like, I always say that, I joke with a friend that whenever he's late at the office or I'm late at the office, and it's like, just close the computer, because tomorrow when you open it, there's going to be work waiting for you anyway. So
Yes.
that you need to take that break. But encourage other business owners to also get involved, get out there, make the connections. And like you say, like, something that, personally in our company that has worked with us too, is making those partnerships with other companies, with other members, where to go and pursue probably bigger contracts or bigger work, because sometimes you cannot do it all.
Exactly.
And
I'll tell you what, the federal government understands that so well that there's something called similarly situated companies. So that means that when you joint venture with other small businesses, even if you joint venture with 5 small businesses, the aggregate of the businesses would not outsize you. They actually allow you to participate as a small business when you joint venture together. The idea that there is that you want small businesses to grow within the federal space.
right.
And to do that, they make special modifications so that you can pursue them and come together to do them. I can assure you that CMS would not be where we are if we had not joint ventured. We joint ventured with a woman-owned small businesses when we were very young to win a contract that was outstanding at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Dayton, Ohio. We joint ventured with our mentor, who was also very instrumental in us really successfully going from 8A certified to being a small business. And now we joint venture with large businesses, because even though we're large, we are on the smaller scale of large in the federal marketplace.
Right.
Right? We're competing with companies that were multi-billion-dollar companies.
Right.
They're not $100 million companies.
Yeah.
Right?
They're in
No.
another scale.
So if you really learn, I always say, life and relationships are like a pie. If you cut that in half, you don't fight for who gets what slice. What you fight for is to together grow the pie.
Right.
But it's
Yeah.
50-50.
Yeah. I love that, because it's because we need to create those scenarios where it's a win-win situation, right?
Exactly.
And where it doesn't feel like any of the partners or any of the businesses is taking advantage of the other one, because like, we all know that won't work.
That will not work.
Yeah.
Because it's at some point somebody will think it's unethical,
Right.
or there will be a problem. So
Or they feel like, this is small example, but like like kind of like a school project where you feel like you're doing more of the work, and then you're like, well, I don't want to next one. I don't want to work with those because like I'm gonna do most of the work, and they're not gonna be. It's not gonna be a fair share, and so yeah, it's the same principle applies in business.
It truly is. Yes.
So what do you think is the key, or what would be like, for example, to other businesses that want to get in the federal contract industry
Yeah.
space? What would you think will be key for them to focus on, or an advice that you give them?
Yes. If you are a Hispanic-owned business, you have a tremendous opportunity to become a prime federal contractor through the SBA's 8A program. It is a developmental program. It is 9 years long.
Okay.
And the essence of the program is to bring in and retain sustainable federal contractors. But you would not be a subcontractor. Many other programs, as you know, whether larger corporate programs or state programs, really focus on you, minority companies, being subcontractors or being sub-tier.
Right.
Not in this program. In this
Okay.
program, you can actually be a federal contractor, a prime contractor. That is what you want to do. You want to position yourself to be a prime. Take advantage of the 80 program. You will need mentors. You need to understand the market. You need to understand how the government buys what you sell. Those are key components before you decide to enter. and then really, truly, the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you would say that the SBA was instrumental on getting you into that space?
It was instrumental in opening the doors for
Yeah.
us to be prime contractors.
Okay.
Yes, it's a tremendous program that truly planted the seed.
Yeah.
Yes.
And also you did another program, which is the Latino Business Action Network.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that program and what
Yes.
it is and how it works?
Absolutely. So the Latino Business Action Network is located by Stanford University, and it is an educational program offered to Hispanic-owned businesses that are $1 million or greater. They just recently started a new program for more venture capitalists under 1 million.
Okay.
So that's another fantastic entrepreneurial opportunity. But I'm going to talk about the one that I participated in.
Yep.
And it's a scaling program. So basically, Stanford University faculty, through a year-long program, teach you the pitfalls and the opportunities for scaling and how to scale for success and what things to watch out for. And I have to tell you that I participated after 2 years after we had a very tough year at CMS. So not everything in business is always perfect.
Yeah.
So 2018 was a tough year for our company. And I participated in that program in 21.
Okay.
And I want to tell you that I remember one of the sessions I thought, oh, aha. It was a funnel, and they actually explain when you truly, the most complex thing in a company is to grow your people. Because you need to, that's the DNA of a company. If you provide a
Right.
service, your people are your company.
Yes.
And when you scale too rapidly in terms of personnel, you run the risk of not having everything tight and perfect and people trained and everybody injected with the same DNA as everybody else. That happened to us. Well, they described it in theory, right? These are faculty members that have done tremendous research. There's a book behind it by Hagi Rao, and he's one of the main faculty members.
Okay.
And I thought, oh my gosh, if I had participated in this program in 2017, that would not have happened to us.
Okay. Wow.
So truly enlightening. It's a fantastic, not only educational, but perhaps the most incredible thing is what happens during the program and after the program. And that is that we develop a very incredible cohort of people. And once you graduate, you're part of the ecosystem of the Latino Business Action Network, which includes all the partners. You mentioned Wells Fargo before, Bank of America. You have so many other ecosystem partners to the Latino Business Action Network and all of the other graduates of any cohort, future and past.
Yeah.
So truly, I became part of a group of people that have gone through an incredible training, but more so that are business leaders in this country. and that are truly contributing to the GDP in the U.S.
Yeah, that's great. And yesterday I was like we talked at the beginning. We were in that networking event, and
Yes.
I know a couple other people that have done the program, the Stanford program, and they always talk great things about it. And what they say is exactly what you're saying. Like they're like after the program, I was like I realized how I needed to set up my company to scale.
Yes.
And and one of the guys, he even say, he's like, well, I realized that was a broken window in my business. Like he's so,
that's one of the case studies that we do.
So,
Yes.
yeah. So he said, I realized that, and I came back, and I was like, we need to start over and restructure the whole thing.
It's actually humbling. It's wonderful. It makes you see. In my case, we were a more advanced business at the time, but we have quadruple, over quadruple since then.
Wow.
So it's been a fun ride. It's great.
And do you think like obviously the program, but you think a lot of this growth has been based on what you learned in the program?
I think what I learned in the program allowed us to do it more successfully, but we were headed that way.
Right.
So we already had the vision that we would grow, and CMS became other than small. So the federal government has a definition for what is small and what is other than small.
Right.
So there's no medium.
Right.
You're small or you're
large.
other than small.
Yeah.
And in that case, we had the vision, but it gives you tools, and it teaches you what are the things to watch out for. How do you really round up your company to make sure that you are protected and you have the right partners with you?
Right.
I'll give you an example. Arturo Cázares is the CEO of the Latino Business Action Network. I called him a year and a half ago, and I said, Arturo, we need to move to a global bank because we are doing work in Spain. We have to issue bank performance guarantees that only European banks can issue. And we were banking with a wonderful bank, but it was a regional bank. Arturo connected me with Bank of America, and it has been perfect. We just received a contract in Hungary, and we were able to issue our own performance guarantee letter. We received an award in Portugal and did the same thing. So again, if it had not been for Arturo's connection that then connected me to the Bank of America team in St. Louis, references really matter.
Right.
They really count. As a business owner, never forget that it is who you know and who knows you.
Yes, it is. It helps, and it all connects to what we're talking about, like being out there, connecting, networking, and
if you give, you will get.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. And so on this, as a small business, myself and together with many others that are here in Kansas City this week, something that happens and something that I see and I talk to a lot of friends and colleagues is like, like the Latinos, sometimes we talk about, yes, we open a lot of businesses, and there is a lot of resources to open businesses. Like you can go and open a business today in 10 minutes. But what I don't see is a lot of businesses scaling and growing and getting out of the mom and pop business, right? And it's something that, for example, for ourselves, we're looking for that. We're looking to scale and to actually be a business and not just like Luis doing all the work, right? Or if I'm not present in the office, then there's no business, like. So what would you say, like, obviously you in another area and your business is, like we say, large, but what would you say that it would be like something, key components or key factors that small businesses need to focus on to actually do that jump?
Two things. One is you have to imagine it. You must imagine that you are going to be somewhere that sounds like you'll never get there, but just imagining it. Right. You will get there, I promise. But you must imagine it. So first is having that goal. If you started a business, already you're daring, already you take risks, right? Well, why stop there? Keep going. Being daring and taking risks will last your lifetime. Number one. Number two is you must surround yourself with people better than you.
Yes.
The only way you become expendable is because you have people that do a better job than you do.
Yeah.
And I'm exaggerating, but the truth is, it is. You must surround yourself with people that are passionate about what they do, that do a great job, and that are willing to do what it takes. Then you can take the time to truly do other things and to focus on guiding that amazing team of people to the dream that you have and the vision that you have. So, people, people, people. We do nothing. People, partners. For us, is partners, subcontractors, vendors, and I would say our team is first. We provide the service. So if
Right.
you meet another CMS Corporation person, and there are two here, you will see that they will be as passionate about CMS as I am,
Right.
and that they are experts and amazing at what they do, whether they're in HR or marketing or proposal writing or estimating or project management, which is key to the execution of our work, or safety or quality.
Yeah.
You must have good people. Develop, invest, mentor your people.
And what is the so? I agree with you, and I would like to say that I'm a people's person, a people guy, right? Like I like to have conversations, obviously, talking to people and getting to know each other. But what would you say that is the key? Because sometimes it's a challenge to tell your team to have that vision, right? Or to have that passion, as you do, obviously, because it's your business, or you start the business, or you're the one that's dreaming it, imagining and seeing the vision. But how do you pass that message along, or that energy to your team?
So I learned that actually early on in my career. And that is, you must create an environment where people naturally want to do that. So you lead by example, so people know how passionate I am and how hard I work and what I do. But most importantly, is they not only understand where we're headed, but truly you create the environment where there's accountability, where people that do a good work get recognized, recognition. It's having that, I call it creating the right environment. It's not telling people what to do. It's the opposite. It's telling them where we're headed and what special things that they can do can transform CMS or transform the area where they're in.
Right.
We grew, your company's growing, so somebody's going to have to develop different groups within your team. Whether, my goodness, as basic as HR. As you start hiring tons of people, you're going to need somebody to run HR.
Right.
Well, what is the vision? You can't tell them exactly what to do in HR because you're probably not an HR expert, but you're going to hire them and tell them, this is where we're headed. We need to hire these many people per year. We want them to be injected with the DNA of your company.
Right.
What things are you going to do? I'm sure they're going to come up and say, we need a top-notch onboarding program. We need a top-notch yearly evaluation program. We need to make sure that within 3 months they have gone through a great, not only the onboarding orientation, but a follow-up. So all these things are done by your team members. But why? Because you're challenging them to go to the next level of excellence. You're providing them the education if they need it, and they know where you're headed.
Right.
So it's creating that environment: accountability, responsibility, and recognition.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those are great. It's a great advice, and definitely I feel like, yes, you're right on creating the culture, creating the environment where others also believe on the company mission, like goals,
Yeah.
and they put themselves out there,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And yeah, so
And recognize that when you see it.
recognize them. Yes.
Yeah.
So I would say that, because I know that you have limited time, but if you want to tell us a little bit about this session that you're
Yes.
doing here at the
Yes.
national convention. Yes.
So I was asked to be a panelist, and the panel is at lunch today. And the title of the panel is Gold Medal Round, the Trajectory of Hispanic Business. And we have the administrator from the GSA, she and I are panelists. And we have Raul from Merck, who is the moderator. And what we're focusing on is some of the questions that you actually asked. What were the challenges and what were the successes growing the business? You know what? People always say, oh, you're so successful. How did you do it? And I said, it's only been 20 years.
Right.
Right? So
Yes.
remember what I told you, imagining where you're going to go? Some of these things are coming up in the session. We're talking honestly about what are the key ingredients, especially in the market that I know so well, the federal marketplace,
Right.
that allowed the company. And I did the same thing when I was very young and starting up the business. I was asking questions. How did you go from being a $500,000 construction contractor entering the 8A program to now being at the time, 10 million? I thought was huge,
Yeah.
right? So the truth is, we are talking about that trajectory. How do you go from humble beginnings to what is called success? But I still think there's a lot more to come, right? So my vision moves every
Right.
time I get to the next step.
And so you so that kind of like that brings you to my next question, because I was gonna say what's the future, what's the next goal for you and your company.
Yeah.
um,
Do you remember I told you that when you are other than small in the federal marketplace, even if you're a $100 million company, when you become other than small, you're competing with billion-dollar companies.
right.
Our goal is to get there, to be recognized as a large within the federal marketplace.
Okay.
So we are on our way to doing that. And it's one day at a time, never losing the vision. Remember, there are pitfalls, there are ups and downs in every business. It's how you recover. I always say, oh, tomorrow it'll be different. So even if I had a tough day, I
Right.
know that when I wake up the next day, I'm back to having the energy, not losing the power to continue to press on.
Yeah. Yeah. And so on these goals that you put, and because I would say that, for some people, sometimes, for some business owners, it's sometimes hard to imagine, right? Like, you're gonna get to 10 million. I mean, you were saying 10 million it was not big, but it's big for a lot of business owners. But at 10 million, then 100, and then talking about billions, right? So when do you realize, since the beginning, since you're like, when do you say, okay, I want to be a $1 billion company or a couple $1 billion company, like?
So I didn't do that at the very beginning. At the very beginning, I remember going to a conference, and Tracy Pinson was the head of small business for the Air Force. I mean, for the Army, I'm sorry. And I went up to her and I said, Miss Pinson, I just saw all the opportunities that are coming up. And they're 10 million, 20 million, 30 million. And our bonding is $500,000. And she looked at me and said, do you see that gentleman over there? Tell him I sent you, and to tell you about the mentor protege program that the SBA has. And guess what? The next year, we were in a mentor protege program, and we were winning IDIQs, which is contract capacity to compete for several years. So they're multi-year contracts that were $50 million, $100 million contract capacity that allowed us to move. So one question in one conference changed my vision. We didn't even know about the mentor protege program. We were the first SBA awarded mentor protege program in the state of Indiana.
Wow.
We were the first 8A to ever join mentor in the state of Indiana.
Wow.
So the point is, if you have the push and the power to say, this is going forward, sometimes you don't know exactly what that number is, but it'll come to you. It really will.
Yeah. And sometimes you don't even know how it's gonna come, right? Like, because yes, so like I see it myself as, like, I never imagined that when I started 5 years ago, that I was gonna be doing what we're doing right now, because the business, the needs of the industry and the needs of the environment change and shift and takes you to different places. But I think the key, once again, is putting yourself out there.
You have to be open. When you hear something, it's almost like everything clicks.
Right.
As you learn, educate. I went to an executive education to this date. I take 40 hours, whether I'm reading books like crazy or I am going to an executive education. I've been to Wharton, to Kellogg, to Stanford, to Harvard. several times to Kellogg, a couple times to Wharton, a couple times to Harvard. My point is you have to challenge yourself every year to grow, to take time off for your own education.
To grow as a person, to grow as a
To grow
business owner.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have more knowledge, be more ready.
Yes. We went to college, but that's not enough.
No.
College is all your life.
Yeah.
It's experience, but it's continuing to challenge yourself
It's the beginning.
intellectually. Yes.
No? That means the beginning, and
Well,
I
it
feel
proves that you can learn, and it
Right.
proves that you have the guts to complete something, right?
right.
Yeah.
More about the discipline of getting through
Yes.
and finish it and setting goals, and especially, for example, for myself, marketing. I mean, what I learned, it changed totally now. So,
Yes.
we need to keep learning.
Luis, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of Fresco Marketing.
Thank you.
I'm so
Thank you.
delighted to be here
No,
in
thank you.
Kansas City with you.
Yes, thank
Yes.
you. So yes, we know that our time is limited, but thank you once again for being here, for sharing all this information with us, and we appreciate it so much. And I have one last question, and this is with everything that you do and running such a amazing company, how do you balance personal life and work life?
Remember, I don't do it alone, right?
Yes.
So my brother is a CEO. I'm the president and CFO, and we have a third owner that is a partner.
Okay.
So we all have each other's backs. We have an executive team. We have a team. But I love my husband, and I want to spend time, and we look forward to spending time. So I always say we work hard and we play hard, but we also rest hard. So we have a place that we call our weekend getaway.
Yeah.
And it's an hour and a half from home in St. Louis. It's in Herman, Missouri.
Okay.
And that is a sacred place for us. So you have to nourish your body, exercise, treat yourself kindly too. Remember that me time is important. But I don't do this alone. We have a great team,
Right.
and we have each other's backs.
Yeah.
So when somebody needs that time, they have it, and we cover for each other.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, well, thank you, Mercedes, for being here. Thank you. It was really nice meeting you and learning more about you and your journey and growing this great company. And I'm sure this is not going to be the only time that we talk. So
Yes.
hopefully we talk later on in the future. And I'm sure you're going to meet all the goals that you have, and you're going to take your company to where you want it to be. So
thank you, Luis.
appreciate your time.
Pleasure talking to you, and thank you for being here.
Thank you, and thank you. And this is Mercedes Enrique, President and CFO of CMS Corporation. And just stay tuned for the next conversation here at the U.S. National Hispanic Chamber of Commerce National Conference in Kansas City. Thank you.
Thank you.